In prison, the worst thing you can do is get to beefing with somebody. If you are in part of an organization, the chances of you not getting into a beef with somebody is slim to none. The reason it's important not to get into a beef with somebody in prison is simple. Even if you get to win in a moment, there's no guarantee that when you get shipped to the next compound, pod, etc., you're not going to run into that individual, his homeboys, his set, and they're not going to want some get back. I was tired of fighting, y'all. There had been moments where I had been physically attacked for no apparent reason at all because somebody was having a psychological episode in prison. There had been moments where I had got into some things, but I knew this. I was tired of getting into it, period. I didn't want any more drama, beefs, etc. And the danger that I was in, because the reality of being part of an organization is it did not matter how I was moving. It didn't matter how I wanted to be a positive individual in prison, because it only takes one of your brothers that you're affiliated to or connected to be moving in a chaotic way, or to be moving with a chip on their shoulder, or to be aggressive for the moment, or get you into a situation over nothing. Because when you're part of an organization, well, the protocol is simple. If your brother gets into it, it does not matter the reason, you must go. And not only must you go, you not just called to get his back, you're called to be aggressive, to set the tone and let the opposition know that they should not do this again, because you don't want to be looked at, nor your organization, as weak in an environment like prison. So here we are on a prison yard, Greensville Correctional Center, approaching the halfway point, if you will, a meeting ground. Our numbers were decreasing. Their numbers looked like they were increasing, maybe because ours were evaporating into the crowd and the adrenaline was up. That's what it felt like. Again, we were here because two of our brothers from our organization had got into it with two of their brothers from their city over a basketball game where not even one penny was on the line. It was just words exchanged. And to be honest with you, it was our little bros that was in the wrong. They had started just becoming aggressive on the court for no reason, fouling people, just doing too much. And the older guys from the other side, they had got tired of it. In prison, politics are real, and there's an opportunity when moments like this are going on to diffuse the situation. Why? Because usually at this moment, the big dogs, OGs, etc., they're part of it. And we're the ones that got a little sense in prison. Not saying anybody else doesn't, but there's a reason certain individuals are running their cars, leading, or OGs, etc. What saved us was one of my brothers that was with us was from their city, had grew up basically up under one of their OGs that raised him in the hood. And he simply said to the OG, y'all got us. We're going to make it right. OG said, good. Because if you don't, we will. And he meant that. And basically what that conversation was stating was we had to clean up our own house. We had to make sure them two youngins that got into it, over the basketball game that almost caused us and them to possibly not go home that day over nothing. We had to make sure that they understood that what they did was wrong. And here we go. I'm in another situation I don't want to be a part of. Not only do we have to clean that up, but because of protocol and most of our brothers had dispersed, and looking back, they should have. It was over a basketball game, but because of prison politics, we were obligated to clean them up too. In most cases, it would just be some lumps and scrapes, but to be honest, sometimes it gets worse in prison. That's why I tell people, don't cross lines you don't have to. Don't join something and be a part of something because you're bored. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Just don't do it. Make it easier on yourself if you're going into that environment. Learn to move alone. But if you're in a situation where you have to, because sometimes you have to, depending on the state, the circumstance, the environment, man, just try to be smart. But know the reality that because of what one of your brothers does, you may not come home. And I would say hands down, that's one of the main reasons I see young brothers going into penitentiary with short numbers and either coming home far, far later than they were supposed to, or not at all, or simply just not living anymore, if you can read between the lines. It's that real. I wanted to go home. I wanted out of this lifestyle and the headaches, though we were no longer beefing with the other opposition, it became worse. The reality of the situation is one of those brothers walks into my pod, one of those brothers that didn't stand on the line with us when it was about to go down. Well, I had to clean him up, and I didn't want to. And that being said, if I didn't clean one of them up, well, then I would have a target put on my back. Maybe that's the target I wanted. Maybe I needed them to see that I didn't want to be a part of their lifestyle so I could finally be away from it. Maybe this was my opportunity. Maybe this was my out. I don't know. It gets tricky. I look back at that moment, and for as brave as I was, and as much as I knew I was on my way out the door, it was still about timing. But in prison, just like in life, when you want change in your life, there is no perfect timing. And I had to make a decision then. I remember talking to my girlfriend, and things were bad. I remember expressing to her I was getting closer to just saying F it, and I really don't care what happens at this point because I am so stressed out by this lifestyle. Mix that on top of the fact me and her were arguing 9 calls out of 10. I couldn't see her until after I got transferred to another compound. So there was an additional stress there because I was trying to stay charge free and get to a place where I could see her because now she was no longer a DOC employee for over a year. And I wanted to fix things with her. This was my road dog right here. This is my people. Like, it was genuine love and respect. And I didn't want to just have prison destroy us. And half my arguments that I was getting into it had nothing to do with her at all. And I'm sure vice versa. It was just the pressure and the stress and me not knowing how to be in a relationship, honest, because I had got locked up at 19 and now I was dealing with a grown woman. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. I had to really start putting things in perspective and work a plan. A lot of the OGs call it programming. When we say programming, I mean you get into your mode, get disciplined with what you need to do in order to accomplish the things that you need to do and get the hell out that door, home, and never look back. I knew there was going to be some hell I had to go through in order to reach my peace and my heaven. But there was no time like now.